I'm gonna end it.
Well, I knew Captain Marvel was going to be super entertaining, action-packed, and absolutely fun. And honestly, it was. It was a fun, action-packed movie that had a lot of details, but there are some things about this movie that I wasn't like a complete fan about. But what I was a fan about was the chemistry between Samuel L. Jackson and Brie Larson. That's the one thing that really stood out for me in this movie. And it really does plant the seed for him, rushing to contact her at the end of Avengers Infinity War. But Captain Marvel's really fun, man. It's a really entertaining movie with a lot of badass action scenes, like I expected. Brie Larson kicks absolute ass. There were some moments in this movie, though, that I did feel like she was just being Brie Larson. She wasn't really just being anything other than herself, which I feel like she'll grow into that role of Captain Marvel moving forward. The Skrulls in this movie, my boys. Woo, the Skrulls were awesome. I do love how the Skrulls weren't just going to be this one-off villain. That was another thing about this movie. I do like how they gave us both sides of the Skrulls and Creed War. They're able to give us both sides, how both of them are suffering through war, and how she needs to pick a side between the two of them. That was something I did not expect. I honestly was fearful that they were going to just be a one-off villain that Marvel was just going to get rid of, just to get rid of them, and I'm glad that they were able to plant that seed, because I do hope that the Skrulls do have a lasting impact in the MCU moving forward, especially with Phase 4 coming up after Thanos. They're a perfect pre-villain after Thanos is handled. But by the way, my God, Captain Marvel, OP as all hell. Thanos is absolutely in trouble. There is problems with this movie just because it just feels like it drags on a little bit too long. The second act is just way too long and buggy. They have to go to this barn. Like, it feels like every Marvel movie has that second act where they have to escape and like regroup and come up with a new plan. I feel like that's like the MCU flavor that they do in almost every single MCU movie. But it does drag a little bit, but there's the action scene in this movie, man. It's just so fun. The Skrulls are awesome. The chemistry between Nick Fury and Captain Marvel is awesome. Goose is a fantastic character in this movie. This movie's just fun. It's everything that I expected it to be. Now, I will say, with my issues with it, with the pace of it, and Brie Larson sometimes just being Brie Larson, and some other moments here and there, dialogue kind of fishy, I did enjoy myself. I enjoyed myself watching this movie. The best part of it, Stan Lee. The Stan Lee scroll, my dude. Not the scroll, my bad. The Stan Lee stuff with the Marvel logo, the Marvel crawl before the movie starts with Stan Lee cameos. Oh, my boy, I'm not gonna lie, I actually teared up a bit seeing Stan Lee and all those different cameos before you got the amazing Marvel logo. That was absolutely fantastic and a great way to start the movie. So bravo to Marvel for having that epic moment. And also, the bus scene was a fantastic moment in this movie. This movie is awesome. Jude Law was absolutely fantastic in this. Everybody was. I honestly liked everyone. But Ben Mendelsohn, my dude, as the lead Skrull. Woo, man, Talos. That was just absolutely a fantastic portrayal of the lead Skrull. I loved it. And there's just moments in this movie that just really opened my eyes to a lot of things. And it's a great next chapter to the MCU. I definitely think it's one of their better origin movies. It's not my top 5 favorite MCU movies because it does have a little bit of issues here and there. But it's a kick-ass movie. It's a badass, action-packed, star-studded film with a lot of epic moments. That third act, the third act of Captain Marvel, my boys, holy moly. That third act is epic. You watch that third act of her just whooping some serious ass. You look at Thanos, they're like, my boy, you better rebuild that gauntlet because you're definitely going to need it because she's OP already in the beginning of her story. You could only imagine how OP she is now so many years later because this is a prequel. And I think it is a great prequel. I think Samuel L. Jackson's Fury in this movie was just epic. I loved his interactions with Brie, with Goose, with the Skrulls. It was just awesome. It was a nice piece of MCU history revisited. I will say, though, and this is a spoiler. Spoiler. If you don't want to know spoilers now, I would stop watching this video. The Tesseract. Whew, the Tesseract is literally the foundation of the MCU. And when the Tesseract shows up in this, I couldn't stop laughing because I'm like, holy cow, how many times do I have to see the freaking Tesseract in an MCU movie? It's literally in almost every single Marvel movie, my boy. The Tesseract is the foundation of the entire MCU. It really is. The fact that the Tesseract is still being called upon and irrelevant in an MCU movie in 2019 is absolutely freaking insane. But the fact that that's still in there, and they do try to wrap it up all around, this is why she's here. It's for the whole core. The Creed wants it so they could defeat the Skrulls, and that's where they plant the seed of how it all connects back to Thanos. But I will say this: another issue I did have with this, because I know a lot of people were saying you gotta watch Captain Marvel before you watch Avengers Endgame. You gotta watch Captain Marvel before you can understand what's happening in Avengers Endgame. After watching the movie last night, do you really have to, other than the Tesseract and knowing that she leaves with the Skrulls? Eventually at some point she picks to defend the Skrulls because the Creed pretty much lied to her and kidnapped her, very much kind of like Star-Lord in Guardians of the Galaxy. And by the way, Ronan was awesome in this also. I do like how they added him to it. I do like the cosmic stuff they added into this movie. It was pretty badass. But like, you watch this, I'm watching this movie, the movie ends, and part of me is like, you don't really have to watch this to understand Avengers Endgame. I mean, if you want to understand who the person is that's going to really destroy Thanos, then yeah, I do agree. You do want to watch her story begin, because I do expect her to beat the hell out of Thanos. But there is nothing really in this other than the Creed and the Skrulls and planting that seed, because like I said, I do think the Skrulls are going to play a major role moving forward in the MCU. I don't know if you have to really watch this movie to really understand Avengers Endgame. I think you just have to watch this to understand who she is and where she's coming from and the things she's been through. Because maybe she will bring up certain moments from this movie that if you don't watch this, you're going to be kind of confused about. There is a post end credit scene, like always in the MCU. And I gotta say, I was kind of disappointed. I didn't really enjoy that post end credit scene. Just because they're all around. You got Cap, Widow, spoilers. Again, spoilers. I want to make that clear again. You got Widow, Cap, Hulk, Falcon, all around. Not Falcon. Falcon faded away. Goddamn, War Machine. You have them all around the beeper. And they do explain the beeper in Captain Marvel, which is something I really did enjoy. That you get that moment with the beeper between Fury and Captain Marvel. That was awesome. Again, the chemistry between Brie Larson and Samuel L. Jackson was one of my favorite moments of this movie. But do you have the Avengers, the remaining Avengers, standing around the beeper? They have it in this machine. They're trying to juice it back up. And Widow's talking about how she wants to know who's picking up from another side. She turns around. There's Captain Marvel asking where Fury is, looking a little bit different than she does in this movie. So I did enjoy that she does look more mature. Her hair is longer, looks ready, looks like she's battle ready, and she's standing there right behind Black Widow. Fades to black. So obviously Captain Marvel is going to be with this team moving forward, and straight from the beginning I expect fully to be with them. So what I'm assuming is when we get the next Avengers Endgame trailer, which we're supposed to get in 2 weeks, according to rumors. When we do get the next Avengers trailer, I expect Captain Marvel to be heavily featured in the next trailer. Now that we have seen her with the Avengers at the end of this post-credit scene, I expect her to be with them in this trailer coming out in about 2 weeks, I believe. I think that is the rumor for now. I think they were saying March 21st or March 25th, somewhere around there. But this month, we're getting another Avengers trailer. Now, where does she fit into the MCU? And she's badass. She's probably the most powerful MCU character other than Thor. And she might be more powerful than Thor. But she's OP as hell in this movie. She is just whooping ass, destroying missiles, flying into space and destroying everything. She's already OP now. I can only imagine how OP she is in this one. And I do think if you want to understand, because I'm pretty sure again they are going to go back and revisit history and talk about how she knows Fury, what happened to her, why did she leave the planet. I'm pretty sure we'll find out that the Skrulls eventually screwed her over and backstabbed her. So if you do want to understand that, then yeah, you probably do have to watch this movie. But if there's anything really riveting that really connects it all together with the MCU, other than her working with Fury and giving him the seed of the Avenger Initiative, I would say not really. And I do think at some point Brie Larson has to do just a tad bit better as a character, because like I said, a lot of times in this movie I feel like Brie Larson was just being herself. It wasn't anything that was but the thing is also, this is our first time seeing Captain Marvel, so I don't really know was the quintessential Captain Marvel. We haven't seen him before other than the comics. But there was moments in this movie that I felt like she was just kind of just being Brie Larson. And I don't know if that was bothersome to me at least, but I did heavily notice that there was nothing really special that she brought to the character other than being Brie Larson, which is fine. I think she needs to grow into that character. I will say this, moving forward, Captain Marvel could definitely be the MCU Superman. That's definitely something that I did get some Superman vibes in this. I do appreciate the Terminator 2 reference in this movie, by the way. There's a lot of T2 references in this, and I appreciate the one with the motorcycle. That one made me freaking laugh, like, just, it was so enjoyable. This movie's fun. It's a fun, action-packed movie. It's what I expected. I don't think it's a great movie. I don't have it in my top 5 in the MCU. My top 5 being Endgame, Winter Soldier, Guardians of the Galaxy, Ragnarok, and probably Black Panther. That was probably my top 5. Captain Marvel doesn't really get close to that. It's definitely my top 10. It's entertaining. It's fun. The Stan Lee stuff is worth the watch. And it's an interesting movie. It's definitely another great chapter to the MCU. And I think it's a great placeholder to get us, you know, excited for Avengers Endgame. Not that we need any more excitement for this movie, because let's be honest, we're all hyped for Avengers Endgame. But it's a nice little placeholder before we get to the grand enchilada, which is Avengers Endgame. Now, I think she's going to be a huge part of Avengers Endgame. I think we're going to see a better situated and battle-ready Captain Marvel. Even though she was already kick-ass in this movie, I can only expect how much more kick-ass she is moving forward. I'm hyped about this. This movie was fantastic, but I have to give it a grade. I would probably be like at a 7. A 7 out of 10 for Captain Marvel. Fun times, entertaining, action-packed, script, okay, dragged on a little bit too much. Acting could have been a little bit better. Pace was a major issue for me in this movie as well. But the Stan Lee cameos, the Brie Larson, Samuel L. Jackson chemistry, the Skrulls, absolutely epic. I'm giving this a solid 7 out of 10, my boys. And if you have watched the movie, let me know down below, what is your review for Captain Marvel? What score would you give it? Comment down below, sound off down below. I would love to talk to you guys about this movie if you've watched it already, because I have many other thoughts I want to talk about. So comment down below in the comment section. If you like this video, slap that thumb, subscribe, and join the Hollywood Quick for daily uploads Monday through Sunday, 7 days a week. Links are all down below in the description. I will see you guys later on. You guys enjoy the start to your weekend too. So,